The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Hello, Lobo fans, and welcome on set of your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with the head football coach at the University of New Mexico, Danny Gonzales. Coach G, a tough one at home against Air Force. I know you would have loved to compete better than you did in this game, but a good second half. What were your major takeaways?
We didn't give up. We've got kids that are willing to fight. We obviously didn't play well enough to have a chance to win. I don't think we coached them well enough. We were confused on both sides of the ball, so that's our fault. We tried to do too many things that look good on paper, and we have to understand what we can do, what we can handle. We didn't do a good job of that at coaching. So I thought Air Force out-toughed us too. They were more physical than we were, and for us to be successful, we can't do that. We have enough talent to be competitive if we know what to do and how to do it, and we didn't give them a chance to do that, so that's on me.
Air Force is a team that's going to move the ball. They're going to run it, and they will score some points. Most disappointing that your offense wasn't better in the first half?
For sure. I mean, good programs, when one side of the ball is struggling, the other side usually takes their end of the bargain. We're not good enough yet on defense to be able to hold somebody to 10 or less points that's that powerful on offense. And so our Air Force had two drives early on that they went down and scored. We've got to be able to answer on offense. And there's going to be days that our offense is going to struggle like they did, that we have to be able to do our part. We're just not good enough yet.
The Lobos were coming off a tough one-possession loss at UTEP, where Coach Gonzalez said mistakes, correctable mistakes, were really a big part of the game. They continued against Air Force?
They did. We're obviously asking our kids to do too much. When they're making mistakes throughout the week and they make those same mistakes on game day, that's our fault. We've got to understand how much they can handle and what they can't handle. And right now, we're not doing a good enough job of that. So we need to coach them better. We need to give them a better plan so that they can execute.
One of the things that you did execute better in the second half was your passing game. In particular, there was a scoring drive where you were able to put in the end zone 4 really nice throws. Why was it able to get going then when it wasn't able to in the first half?
We gave them 7-man protection. We should have done that from the very beginning. We did blow a couple 7-man protections. I mean, the very first play of the second half, Terry gets a corner coming off the edge where we have a blocker for him, and we look inside and make a mistake. We have to clean those up. We have to execute the simple things just to give ourselves a chance. We're not talented enough to out-talent people yet, so we've got to execute, and we didn't do that. Now, we did on that drive. We used 7-man protection. Luke did a nice job on the first one. Manny did a nice job on the second one. Trey made an unbelievable catch on the touchdown. So if we give him some time, Terry obviously can throw the ball well enough to move the ball.
And it looks like, too, that when he has the time, he can put it where he needs to. You talked about the touchdown to Trey Hall. It looked like that needed to be a back shoulder throw, and it was perfect.
It was. I mean, the DB was on the inside. Trey came out of the backfield and ran a little wheel route, and Terry put the ball right where it had to be. Now, Trey had to adjust his body, and Trey's that kind of an athlete. That's why we played him at wide receiver, and that's where we're going to keep him for a little while.
One thing, you look back to the 2 victories at the end of last season, the Lobos were able to do very well in wins over Wyoming and Fresno State, and that's run the ball. Unfortunately, you haven't been able to run the ball effectively here in recent games, something that needs to get corrected?
No, there's no doubt. If we can't run the ball, we're not going to be good at anything. The guys up front have to block better. They have to be more physical, and hopefully by taking some of the things off of their plate, they can do that, because when you're confused, you can't play fast. And if we're trying to do so much that they don't know what to do or how to do it, we've got no chance.
When we come back on the other side, we dig into the first half highlights. The Lobos conference opener, a loss at home to Air Force after this timeout. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Welcome back into your Lobo Coaches Show with UNM head football coach Danny Gonzales. I'm Robert Portnoy. Coach G, fast starts had been a signature for your offense in previous games this season. This was a different story against Air Force. We're going to get to the first half highlights. You knew that they would move the ball on the ground, but you weren't able to answer, and they scored on their first 4 possessions. Did it surprise you?
On both sides. The first play, I mean, we throw a bubble to Luke, and he gets 9 yards, and then we can't go anywhere. The third play of the game was we missed the blocking assignments. It's way too early to have assignment mistakes. I mean, 3 plays in, usually we practice the script 3 or 4 times during the week. So that was frustrating and disappointing. And then obviously allowing them to score on the first 4 drives. We had a couple chances to get off the field and didn't do it. That was disappointing. One of those things that they've got to keep us in the game when we're struggling, and we got to keep them in the game when they're struggling.
Another thing that you guys talk about all the time is winning the turnover battle, and you didn't in this one. And against a team like Air Force that possesses the ball as long as it does, that makes it even tougher.
Well, they had the ball for almost 40 minutes because we couldn't get off the field on defense, and then we gave them 3 extra possessions. We had a chance when the score was 17-0 to pick one up and score. I was really frustrated on Saturday night because I thought Jarek should have jumped on it, or Joey. As I go back and watch the tape, I think Jarek probably made the right decision. It just got knocked out of his hands. Joey dove. There wasn't any other white jerseys around. Joey dove and knocked it out of Jarek's hands, or it's going to be a touchdown. And we're going to some of those breaks. I mean, you create your own breaks. Corey made a great play to cause the fumble. We got to capitalize, because at 17-7, we might give our offense a spark. It might be a completely different game, but we're not making our own momentum right now.
All right, let's get into first half highlights. The Lobos and Air Force at University Stadium.
It was a cool flyover. I could hear it. I didn't see it. We were in the locker room. Here's the first play I was talking about. I mean, with 9 yards on the bubble, we run the next one. We get another yard, and then we have a third down where if Trey's able to get outside, here it is. If Trey can get outside, there's some room out there, but we missed 2 guys up front. So we can't make those mistakes that early on. And then we got these guys, they got rolling early. I mean, we didn't support the run good enough in too deep coverage, which traditionally we've been able to do. So we had to go to man coverage, and you're going to see in the second half a play break because of it.
The way that you utilized Trey Hall in this game was interesting. Necessity, sometimes the mother of invention, because you still had players out at that position, the wide receiver position, but he's such a dynamic athlete.
He is, and it was really good to get Manny back. I mean, what a great job on this first kickoff return. We get the ball to the 40-yard line, give our offense an opportunity to get down in field goal position, maybe even score. Great play here. I think this is the option by Terry. Nope, this is the first one, the pitch to Trey. We're going to see one right here to Terry in the second. You know, that could have been, they were crying for targeting right there. I'm glad they don't call that stuff. Let the referees upstairs decide it. Here's a really good option play by Terry. I mean, we're down on the 40-yard line. This is what I'm talking about. They should take this ball in and score. From here, we go backwards.
So 4-man pressure, and here's one where Trey Hall, because a helmet came off, he's in for one play, and you get it knocked out.
Yeah, we get beat up. We get beat to the left tackle, and they get a sack fumble. Right here, if we have a guy that gets cut off on the pinch, they fumble the ball, we have an opportunity to get on it, but he gets cut off and we don't get there. So we do stop him for a field goal. It's 10-0. We've got to respond when we get the ball in offense. Instead, we go 2 plays and fumble it. Actually, it was the first play.
So they pull it out from Aaron Dumas there. You know, one thing that you can say, and while they do score on this drive a touchdown, your defense has been really good this year after your offense has turned it over in terms of either not giving up points or forcing field goals.
We were really good on sudden change. Right here, we get on both these plays, we get some dirty eyes by our secondary. If we're chasing the guys man-to-man like we're supposed to, we'll be right where them. This is a great play by Corey. Right there's no bodies around. I think Jarek can pick that thing up. He's probably going to score. And it's too bad because that would have completely changed the momentum of the game right before halftime.
You can see Corey Hightower makes a terrific play. Everybody's frustrated, and you're right, there's room. If Jarek picks it up, nobody's around, it's a house call.
You know, we get them backed up on first down, and then they throw this is one of 2 passes on the day, and Tavian gets beat in coverage. He had the right guy. We have an assignment mistake up front where a guy doesn't pinch, he'd be right in the quarterback's face. They complete the ball.
It's tough when you have a team that is so good with its fullback and the dive. They're going to be tough in short yardage. Did you like the way your team competed in those scenarios?
Well, Air Force, when you get a 1st and 5 down inside the first down inside the 5-yard line, they're going to score 95% of the time unless you can force them into a mistake on an option. If they're going to run dive, they're going to get their fair share. I thought we competed. The competition and trying to play hard wasn't an issue. When you have when you're building a program early on, you have to determine whether or not the kids believe in what you're doing. They believe in what we're doing. We're not doing it well enough. That's our fault. We've got to fix that, and we'll fix it for this weekend. That gives us a chance. The competition, the competitive edge, that gives us a chance. We have enough talent to be competitive if we do everything right. So we got to continue to coach them up and teach them better so that they do it right.
Another thing you've talked about a lot, Coach G, is also having the veteran players preaching your message too. And once they're fully bought in and doing that, and the coaches don't have to do it as much, that can help change the culture?
It does. The older guys are pretty scarred from what's gone around here for the last 4 years. It's the habit of losing I talk about. When things go bad, it's all of a sudden a collapse. And the older guys are starting to figure out what we want. it's going to take a couple years for that to be just what's in the program. It's not an overnight fix, and I wish it was. We'll keep working on it. There's some of them that are starting to figure it out, but we need more.
24-0 at halftime. Second half, much different story. We take a look at the highlights next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show. New Mexico hosted Air Force to start Mountain West Conference play. It's time for second half highlights with Coach Gonzalez.
When we came out, we decided that we needed to play straight man coverage to give ourselves a chance, and early on it worked. I mean, we had a first 3 downs, we get them into a situation where they have to throw it. We get a holding penalty, and then we stop them again on the 3rd down. We make them punt, which was a positive. We made them punt. They backed us up, and the first play we have an assignment error on max protect. That was a little disappointing. We made some adjustments at halftime. Didn't make them good enough because we didn't teach them well enough. We stopped to a punt. We get them to another 3rd down situation, and this is what happens when you play straight man coverage if there's one mistake. Jarrett gets cut, Ronald doesn't get across, and it's a 60-some yard touchdown.
Those cut blocks, obviously it's something that you don't see every week. Tough to handle?
They are tough to handle, especially if you don't attack them with the right hand placement on the helmet. You can't look at the ball carrier when you're attacking the arc blocker. And it takes time to get used to. I mean, that's a period of when you get used to playing this kind of offense, the way we play it, they'll get better at it.
All right, this is the drive we talked about. You guys got it rolling. 4 consecutive quality pass plays on this drive.
Oh, I thought the offense, I mean, there's a Connor protection off of a play action. Nice throw to Manny that's CJ Boone over the middle. And then we're going to get down there pretty close for Terry to throw the ball to Trey. Really nice throw to Manny.
You hit Luke Wysong initially, then you get CJ Boone, now Manny Logan Green. And amazing, this will be your 9th touchdown of the season, Coach G. 9 different players across the goal line.
I mean, that's outstanding. I mean, Frank gave me a stat today. We've had 17 different guys catch a football. One short of a record that's been here for 60 years. Since 1997, over 60 years of football. So that's a good deal. I mean, we're spreading the ball around. We just need more playmakers.
I love Trey Hall's attitude too. He wants to be the starting quarterback, but he's playing at wide receiver. He's coming out of the backfield, and he's helping your football team.
He is, and he just wants to play. And when you have guys like that, you got a chance to be better.
So the second half, I mean, it's a 14-10 score in the second half. If you just factor out the 24-0 at the break, you feel better about the performance in the second half?
There's no moral victories around here. We competed hard, we played hard. I thought if we played our best football on defense, we could hold them to 21 points. I thought that would be enough. I thought we could muster enough on offense. Obviously, we weren't able to, and it came down to mistakes. Our kickoff return was one of our best things of the night. When Manny was in there, we got that one we showed earlier, and then they adjusted their kickoff to some sky kicks. We tried to change some blocking schemes on the sideline and didn't do a good job. Right here, it turned into one of the targeting penalties on Bobby Cole.
I don't know if that looked a heck of a lot different than the one on the sideline that could have been called on Air Force in the first half that wasn't, Coach.
You know, those are judgment calls, and they look at them upstairs to see if they're the right thing. I mean, it's an interesting rule that college football is actually looking at to see if there's some that an incidental targeting may not be an automatic ejection. Here was a great play by Luke. Now, give the Air Force DB credit. He tried to turn this into an interception. He took the ball from him on the ground, but he was already down. I mean, that's a completed catch, plays over. He fooled the referee, though.
Fooled me, too, upstairs, but Dontrell Moore, my partner, saw it immediately, and I just think it's a spectacular play by Luke Wysong, and that's pretty good coverage.
It's a great coverage for a young man that has a separated shoulder. I mean, he fought through adversity, toughness. I mean, he did everything. We get a break, they get a penalty, and then we give up 2 sacks. We go backwards. Bright spot, we got to practice our field goal team, and Andrew Shelley's kind of finding his groove.
Yeah, this will be his 5th consecutive make after he was 2 for 4 to start the season. And a nice job here, Terry able to get something back with his legs and get it back into field goal position.
He did. He gave us an opportunity to do this right here. Jared Long's done a great job holding all year, and then Shelley put it through the pipes.
You motivated Andrew Shelley earlier this season, and he has really started to click again and continues to be one of the top 5 for career field goal percentage at the University of New Mexico.
Oh, that's good. We need him. We get a pass interference call. Their feet got tangled up right here when we take a shot. Luke Weissong has an ability now to make big plays, and he's been our biggest playmaker so far as a true freshman.
And I know you missed the last 2 games, and there are excuses and there are reasons, but the offense looks different when you don't have a player as well, like Keontae Lanier, who can kind of take the top off the defense.
He can. He gives us a different alternative to when we want to go deep. He's fast, he can get open, and he's got great hands. We've missed him for 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll get him back this Saturday.
Wonderful having Andrew Erickson back and available this week.
Oh, there was a big catch right here. Disappointed on the drop that he has in a little bit. But we're protecting him better. We got the back in there for extra protection. We give Terry a little bit of time. And he's pretty good with his feet when he needs to. Too bad he stumbled right there. But he made some positive yards, got the first down, gives us a chance to get down here in scoring position again.
How about Terry's hamstring in this game? Did he come through this one okay?
He was fine. Didn't seem to bother him. These penalties, lack of discipline. We're killing ourselves. 4th and 9 when we were 4th and 3. Somebody asked me at the game, why we didn't kick another field goal, trying to get in the end zone. The earlier one, we were so far away. We get an opportunity to go get Andrew another opportunity to kick. So we took it. Right here, I wanted to score a touchdown to see if we can make it a little bit closer. At 38-17 with under a minute to go, obviously we're not going to win. We never quit around here, so we're going to try and do the best we can. You saw Air Force do the victory formation. That's too bad.
You get down 31-0, but still, you have 2 quarters for your team to get better. Do you think they did?
No, I thought they competed well. We fought. We're not good enough to make the mistakes we can make and win and have a chance to win. There wasn't a guy on the team that threw in the towel. The energy on the sideline, they weren't laughing. They weren't like, it's no big deal. It was a really big deal. I thought the last 2 days it's been a big deal. Those are the things that we have to continue to change. It's going to get old listening to me say this. We'll be good. We'll be better. That's going to get really old. I understand that. It's also a process to build a program, and we're going to build it.
One of the things the Lobos lost from last season is one of the top right tackles in the conference in Teton Saltis. Did you see some improvement there this week?
Jack did a nice job. He was hit and miss. Sometimes he's really, really good. Sometimes he makes some freshman mistakes. I think we're putting a combination of linemen. We're going to play some different guys so that we have a chance to be better, and we'll see how they do.
All right, we come back on the other side. The Lobos will make a trip to Carson, California, and take on San Diego State, a place that Coach Gonzalez and his defensive coordinator, Coach Long, know very well. That's next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Back for a final time on this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show with the head football coach at UNM, Danny Gonzales. I'm Robert Portnoy. So, Coach G, 38-10 loss to Air Force. As you look to improve going into San Diego State, what are the things you'll be focusing on?
Making sure that we coach them better, that we don't give them too much to handle. The team we're getting ready to play is a physical team. They're going to be a pretty football team. They play football the right way. They're ranked in the top 25. They're potentially a top 10 football team. So we've got a great task ahead of us. The guy that's responsible for building that team is on our staff. And so we're in the process of building something similar. It takes time. It took us time over there.
It's built. You told us before we took the air to start this show that when you get down on the field and you see that football team, the Aztecs are going to look just as good as A&M?
Oh, they will. Their offensive line might be bigger. Their running backs are really good. Greg Bell's as good a player as we'll play this year at that spot. And then on defense, they're doing what we do. And they're doing it a little bit better because they've been doing it for a while. And they'll be pretty upfront on both defensive and offensive lines. Their skill guys will run the ball fast, and they're physical. So it's a great challenge.
When former Lobo head coach Rocky Long was the head coach at San Diego State, he won 3 conference championships. Coach Gonzalez, you were with him for all of those. The emotion's going to be running high for you this weekend?
It's different. When I was at San Diego State and we played here, it was very emotional. We played them 3 times and we beat them 3 times. Every single time it was miserable after the game. It was a relief to win. It wasn't an excitement to win. There's not going to be any relief to win here. I want to beat these guys really bad. San Diego was a great time in my life. It was really good for my family. That's where my kids went through middle school and high school. But it's time. We get to play them, and there's no emotional connection there.
Have you and Coach Long talked about this, though? What about for Coach Long? He was the head coach some of the best years that program has ever seen.
Oh, for sure. But Coach Long's the Lobo, and this is our place. So we want to beat those guys bad, and there's no emotional connection to them.
All right, San Diego State's a really good football team, as Coach Gonzalez said. What do they do best?
Well, on offense, they run the ball. I mean, they're big up front. They've got good running backs, and they block you well, and they give those guys a little bit of space, and then they get vertical. And on defense, they play the right way. They play really, really hard. They're aggressive. They're physical. Schematically, they do what we do. Kurt Maddox, who was at Eastern Kentucky, they brought him in. Coach Hoke, who was with Coach Long, is the D-line coach, and has been with Coach Long all the way back since the Oregon State days, back in the early 90s. He knows what we do on defense, and so they've done a really good job keeping going what those guys have done. They've got a veteran ball team. There's a bunch of seniors on this team that have done it the whole time. So they'll do it right. They'll play the game the right way on both sides of the ball, very physical. So we got to match it.
You said that belief is so important. This is a team, San Diego State, that's beaten Arizona, it's beaten Utah this year. How do you get you guys to believe they can compete and win this game?
We got to give them a chance in practice. They've got to know what to do. If they are confident in what we're doing, we have enough talent to be competitive against anybody, against San Diego State, against Boise State, Fresno State. We proved that last year against Fresno State and Wyoming. They might have been missing a couple guys here and there, but we played good enough to win those games. So if we give them enough of a chance in practice that they are confident with what they're doing, we'll have a chance to win this game.
One nice thing offensively is that wide receiver room is going to have a full boat this week, right?
It sure should. We'll continue to test. I mean, anything can change. Those things happened the day before, but we plan on having them all.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. So long, everybody, and go Lobos.
Go Lobos.